Just gonna do another recording. Um, so yeah, I'm talking pretty quiet because I'm inside the house. But yeah, the previous one I did was on a cheap headphone with a mic, and it seemed really quiet, so I kept talking closer and closer to the mic. And the closer I got, it was buzzing, and I didn't really notice. And when I went back and listened to it, it was too annoying. Like, it was annoying even to me, so I'm just gonna try and redo it. That one was only 23 minutes. I don't know how long this will be. But I named it Femmes Who Flirt. So for all you femmes who flirt out there, you know who you are. This one's about you guys. So I guess I could start by saying, like, that there's a certain kind of dynamic that sometimes happens. So that tends to be between, overall, I'd probably blame it on just general female relationships. They tend to be closer to one another with less, I guess, boundaries or expected boundaries than most other sort of gender relationships, I guess, in a way. But gender is a wide spectrum. It's very, very colorful, very, very diverse, and your masculinity and femininity don't really necessarily have much to do with your actual, assigned sex at birth, or even if you're intersex. That just goes to show. It's kind of like, what, is it that, is a person's gender, like, for real, if a person's intersex and born with, some form of male and female genitalia, or I'm kind of blanking on what the word is, but you can have ovaries or testes, or even like a uterus and a penis. It's like, things like that exist. Not things as in people, but things as in situations, that people can be born with. I mean, they exist, and who's to say that one of those people would be more male or more female, or more masculine or more feminine? I mean, I think it's a sense people get of themselves, and it's not really attached necessarily to having estrogen or testosterone for the most part. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it's kind of getting away from the point. But I'm just saying that people who are on the end of the spectrum that's more of on the masculine side, you don't necessarily have to be a male or a female. But here I'm talking about females that are more towards the, I'd say you're somewhat androgynous to all the way towards, a masculine stud or a butch. That would be all the way on the other extreme. And when I say extreme, I'm not using that as like a derogatory term. It's just, if I'm thinking about a spectrum of masculinity and femininity, there's femininity all the way to one side, there's masculinity all the way to the other side, and then there's stuff in the middle, right? And not everybody expresses maybe how they tend to their gender, or feel or notice or recognize their own gender and their own identity. They don't always have external characteristics or external, you know, presentation of that. But I would say when it comes to like a more masculine presenting female, what you often tend to see is at times, not all the time, but we're females and we have friends that are females also, but sometimes you have straight female friends that get a little on the curious side. They like your masculine energy, they might like your style, your clothing style, your kind of the swag you got about you, your boyish charm, and it's okay, if they have some form of an attraction. But the dynamics get a little bit complex when it's like people are flirting and there's confusion, and then people are denying that they're doing anything or that they have any kind of feelings, and it's like, okay, like your signs are showing otherwise. And I'm not saying that gives an excuse for anyone to be like constantly asking somebody out, or constantly like flirting, or constantly like even harassing somebody at all. Like, I'm not saying that that's the level it would need to get to. That's completely inappropriate. But I'm just saying that when it comes to people just like together, as friends or in a social setting or socially interacting with one another, sometimes there can be, some form of curiosity that might happen. And there's also this other stereotype on the other side of that, excuse me, that I know Amber's Closet touched on this. I know a lot of YouTubers have touched on this, that about there being, this kind of expectation or stereotype that athletic females are gay, or that tomboys or masculine presenting females are gay. And some are and some aren't. I would just say that's not really an indicator of someone's sexual orientation, just the clothing that they are more comfortable in. I mean, for example, you can have a male drag queen who's a straight man who likes to dress up like a woman. I mean, that, it doesn't mean that the guy's gay. I mean, and if he is gay, good for him, if a tomboy is gay, good for them, but, it kind of makes things maybe a little more even harsh, I would say, for a gay tomboy female to get kind of hit on by straight femmes. I mean, if they're getting hit on by gay femmes, that might be more ideal. And that's a whole different dynamic that I didn't discuss in the other one, but just because someone's more femme doesn't mean that they're necessarily straight. So I would say if you have two gay females and one's a femme and one's more masculine, and there are a range of masculine and a range of feminine, but I would say people still have their types. So gay females aren't always into tomboys or aren't always into femmes. They have their own individual types. So what you notice when it comes to types is that when you see two females together, they get a lot of, people questioning them because they're like, they might be more straight passing. And so people question, because of their femininity, they question their sexual orientation, even if they might be lesbians. And they might be together with one another. And people might always want to, especially straight people, I don't know if gay people do this as much, but, people kind of questioning it, or people expecting, who's more masculine? Who's the masculine and who's the feminine one? I get that question from straight people all the time. Like, it's the most interesting question. I don't know what to even say. But, yeah, when it comes to femmes, they might be interested in, other femmes. And, or, there might be masculine females that are interested in other masculine females. Which for some reason they get more discrimination. Not really more. That's not the right word. A different form of discrimination. Kind of just because, it's already, there's already like a sexual orientation kind of norm, and then a gender kind of norm in society, and then both of them are being kind of challenged in a way. And, it's just confusing. But, I mean, ultimately, I really just wanted to talk about the dynamics between, straight femmes who flirt with gay masculine women, or just masculine women in general, but the gay ones, too. 'Cause I feel like it's a little different. So, when you have a person who's not straight, and people are flirting with them and being suggestive, but they're actually not interested, but they're just kind of like curious in a way that's like, hey, I'm intrigued and I'm interested in how this dynamic might work, and I like playing with the idea and feeling it out and feeling something different from, being around the female who's like this way. But, I mean, you gotta take into account, too, the other person's feelings, like, so, like, if someone's being more on the side of suggestive or flirtatious and they're actually not even interested, don't lead people on. Like, it's one thing if it's just like a fun night, and I'm not trying to discourage people or tell them don't explore things, or, but it's like, it should be mutual, so, if someone wants to flirt and they're really not interested and they're straight and they just want to flirt just because they think it's fun, they might want to say that, before they make it seem like they're interested in some other person that they're not interested in. Or, that was weird, my phone's like turning off and on. Okay. I don't know if it's still recording. Oh, it is. I'm just gonna turn off the screen. Alright. Let's hope this records, guys. Sorry. But my phone just suddenly, the screen started flashing off and on. So, yeah. Anyways, what I was wanting to just say, is that, people should just be careful with other people's feelings. it's fun to have a new, exciting, exotic type of experience or rare type of situation and want to act on it and want to explore it and experiment with it. But at the end of the day, you're exploring and experimenting with another person who has feelings. I'm only really talking about femmes who flirt. I haven't really touched on, masculine and females do flirt too. I'm not going to say they don't, but they do. But I'd say I'm not, so much on the femme side of things to really understand how that works. But I'd say, I don't really understand their perspective so much, I guess. But I'd say a lot of masculine females, and, they might take on traditional masculine roles at times and pay for dinner and like to wine and dine someone and open the door and drive you around, not always, but it could happen. There are always exceptions, and I don't know percentages on anything. I just know what I see with my own eyes, and where I live, it's not a very traditional place here in Southern California. So I feel like when it comes to even any general norms in American society, anyways, we kind of are a lot more relaxed, even though we're not completely relaxed. We're a lot more like open-minded in a way, or more like you see more diverse types of situations, and it's not foreign to you to see like two butch women together, or even two bi people together, and one's male and one's female, and it's just you see all sorts of dynamics. And so but here, it's just interesting when you see, usually why I was bringing this up is because what happens is, if there's a masculine presenting female and they have like feminine female friends, they're kind of different from one another, like you usually kind of have your boys too, the guys you play sports with and go out to drinks with and stuff like that, and then you have your female crew, and then it's like you do completely different things with them a lot of the time. So there's that, and then sometimes you have like dude, I'm like totally blanking. I'm sorry. It's late for me. I've been trying to stay awake. Yeah, so I'll just start over. Like basically, yeah, you might have situations where there's like a more masculine type of a female, and then there's a femme type of female, and if the femme person is knowingly flirting with the other person and they happen to be gay, and a masculine female, I think it gets a little tricky. Because it's like, especially if you know somebody's gay, you're kind of like playing with their feelings in that way. I think it's taken a little bit differently than like if it's two straight women and one of them's flirting, it's a little different, because it's like, okay, you're both straight, versus if one of you isn't straight and there's flirting going on, it can get really confusing really fast. But I mean, that's just something to consider, because I kind of brought up a whole bunch of different topics all in one here. But I don't know what people think about that, about the topic of like femmes and like them flirting and like how they're like how they do. And then there's also this dynamic of how people actually like, dude, I keep blanking whenever I get it. Like the actions, right? So say if you know somebody and they're your friend, they might treat you a certain way when you're alone, and you can talk and like have open conversation, and it seems like kind of safe space to just kind of laugh and just like open up about stuff. But then you go around their friends, and you're maybe not a straight female and they're a straight female, and you see this other dynamic of, you know, they might treat you a little differently around their friends. They might act a little bratty or irritated or annoyed, or they might be a little bit cold, or like on the side of like almost emasculating, like trying to make you feel like, you know, a certain kind of way, or like trying to get under your skin. Or they might just be outright completely flirting with you, or very possessive. That's another thing that happens. Like if you're out, and say if you are gay and you're out in a gay bar and you have like a straight female friend with you and you guys are like hanging out, and then you go and try and talk to someone that you met, and then she might get a little like annoyed, you know, that you're not like spending time with her anymore. So that happens too. And I know excuse me. Yeah, I know it's not just straight femmes. I know that. I know it's not just straight femmes who are up to this. You know, the tomboys play a role too. And you know, sometimes if people just like it and both parties are having fun, you know, why not? But I don't think it's an issue until, you know, something's unclear or suggested, or somebody's like not being like honest with how they actually feel about something. I don't know. But that's just kind of my take on it, at least for the night. It's kind of been on my mind since like the weekend. I kind of had a situation come up. Maybe that's why it's been on my mind since the weekend. Because I had a situation come up before the weekend that kind of went into the weekend. And so it was just interesting. But I don't know. Also, it kind of depends where you hang out. Because, you know, I was mentioning this to a friend of mine, the actual details of what happened. And they did have a point that, you know, when people are drinking, you know, they act different. It's like, yeah, that's another added, you know, extra variable is the alcohol. Because, you know, I feel like people are a little more, you know, when they've been drinking, they're a little bit more, you know, loose with how they say things or what they say, and their delivery, and just how they just don't give two, you know what's, you know. And, you know, people can kind of push, but it's just how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I really had too much more to say on that. It's just, something to look out for. And it's something that, for some people becomes frustrating. It could help to kind of figure out a method of dealing with it. Because if you're very social, it's probably going to come up quite a bit. You're probably going to notice it. And especially if you hang out in groups of people that aren't completely all cis straight people, you might, you know, come across different sort of scenarios. And I find it interesting how every group that a person belongs to has different sorts of dynamics and situations that for their group, for the type of person they are, they have different experiences in the world than another person might have, just because of how they look on the outside or where they are in the world as far as region or where they live or time period they were born. I just find that all so interesting. But I don't want to get too esoteric and philosophical and go off on a long tangent and make this into something that's like an hour that could be done in under 30 minutes. But yeah, I mean, that's most of that. I'm just putting it out there. Food for thought, guys. Just pay attention, observe your surroundings. Try not to get too bogged down or too upset or too bothered by things, and just know, sometimes these situations are normal situations that are going to be coming up. Even if they're annoying, it doesn't mean you have to like it or agree with it. It doesn't mean you have to lay down and just take it or not fight back or not, address it, or not, bring it to someone's attention or open it up to conversation. I'm not saying just do nothing. If you feel like you want to do something about it or address it, it's completely valid. And, there are people willing to listen. I mean, you can always email me about it. But yeah, I think it's interesting that, people talk about this a little bit, but it's not really a topic you hear out there much. But it's something that you see a lot. And if you are more on the masculine presenting side as a female, you will probably experience something like this. People you work with, people you meet, friends of friends, friends of family, they get curious in a weird way, and they start asking all sort of weird stuff, and to them, maybe it's normal, and to you, they're gonna drive you up the wall and make you feel uncomfortable and be intrusive and not treat you like you're human, and treat you like you're like a freak show circus exhibit or like an animal in a cage, and they're like learning about your experience as a human or something. It's like people can get really intrusive really quick, and it's not fair, but it's reality, guys. But yeah, if you haven't experienced this, think about how you address it. Think about some ways to address it, guys. In case it does come up, and if it does come up, and you know how to address it and what works for you, put it out there so people can hear it, and maybe it'll help somebody. Like for me, I'd say like I like to, after I'm done venting or getting angry and just internally cursing in my head about some stupid situation, I like to think about it a little more deeply and think about like, okay, what happened? What are the possibilities of reasons why they might be reacting in this way? And trying to really truly understand it, and really trying to get like an understanding of like different things that could contribute, or different methods that, looking at things from their eyes or from their shoes, like maybe they feel like they're doing nothing wrong, or maybe they feel like, like you're friends, so it's okay, and like maybe they think you like it. I don't know. maybe you do like it. Shoot, that's fine too. But yeah, it's just a topic that I find interesting, and especially because it's something that recently came up. But hopefully, it's helpful for some of you guys out there. Still gonna keep trying to post stuff for you guys, and I didn't mean that to sound so like I don't want to do it, because I do want to. It is kind of hard to put stuff out there, though, in all honesty. Like, I think about what I'm saying sometimes, and I'm like, there's certain people I really would not want them to come across this. So, it's something that goes through my mind. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's kind of like an audio journal, and, you know, it's a way to, like, get some things out there and connect with an audience of people that I can relate to, as well as just relaxing and being able to just do something productive. So if you guys like this, just, you know, go ahead, drop a line. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more.